Good morning, Twyla.
Good morning, Al. Does that remind you of one of our favorite movies?
Yes, it does.
What is it?
It's Good Morning, Vietnam.
Yes, so good morning, whole food, plant-based journey people.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Today's a good day.
It is.
Yes.
Now, what did you do positive?
I would say my most positive thing that I've been doing over the last few days is to really reach out and help others. I've been delivering some forks over knives meals. Yesterday I took some, when I taught plant-based cooking classes, I had gloves. Somebody posted on our next door, that's a little thing that you guys have. We have like next door Fair Oaks or next door Gold River. And someone said they needed gloves. Well, I had a lot of extra gloves that I didn't use because I'm not doing the cooking classes anymore, so I dropped those off. I dropped some oil-free chips off to another friend, and so I think that's really helped me stay positive is when I'm helping other people. I felt really good about that. That's my positive. How about you, Al?
That's nicer than mine.
No, it's not.
I watched the movie.
Yay!
And
what movie did you watch, Al?
I watched Forks Over Knives, which we're going to review today.
Yay! We hope you did too.
And
we hope you watched it.
It was very positive. It motivated me in a positive way. All right, now let's segue into what did you do healthy?
My healthy thing that I did this week, which I kind of got a little bit lazy, as you could tell from our last podcast, I decided that before I could watch anything on Netflix or any cute dog video on YouTube, I would take a long walk, which I did. Which I have been, which really feels good just to get out there and do some walking.
You used to walk a lot.
I know we did, and then I'm kind of a wussy walker. If it's not over at least 61 degrees, I am not going to walk. And so...
we walked this morning in the rain.
Yeah.
We cut it short.
Cut it short, right. Yeah. So, it's not any fun anymore to walk up and down the aisles of Costco. Yeah. So... too crowded. But so I did start walking. I absolutely loved it. It's like, and you see a lot more people walking than we used to see, that's for sure.
So
how about you?
Well, yes, interestingly enough, my exercise also, my healthy thing was also exercise. Instead of bicycling, I have a tricycle. And it's kind of a super recumbent, and it's really neat, and so I decided to take it out again. I hadn't been using it for a while, like you, because the weather was cold. And, of course, I don't ride in the rain.
No.
I'm a fair weather rider.
Yes.
So it's good. We both did something with exercise.
And we hope you're doing that, too. If you remember our SHEEP acronym, E, one of the E's is for exercise.
Exercise.
Yes, and that's really important, not just for, it is important, obviously, for circulation and to keep your heart going, but also mentally, I think it's really good.
Yes.
Have you noticed any benefits for more exercise?
I've noticed more benefits from this lifestyle than I have for exercise.
Okay.
But yes, I sleep better when I exercise.
And that's S is for sleep. So all those factors really make a difference, and especially now when we're focusing on keeping our immune system strong and doing things to stay positive, they're all very important.
I have a question for you. What are those funny things from your ears?
What are these, Al?
They look like a rabbit.
Yeah.
Big green ears.
These are turnips.
Turnips?
Yes.
I never would have guessed that.
Yes, they're turnips because I know I mentioned this before.
It's surprising what turns up under your ear.
See, very good. I love that. Good job, Al. You just came up with that. That wasn't even in our script or anything. Not that we have a script.
Our script.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. And you remember from a couple of other podcasts, we like to let us turn up the beat.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Oh, God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, my grandmother used to love to make things out of turnips, and she'd grow turnips. And so, since we're talking about forks over knives and kind of returning to just eating whole foods, I wore these turnips.
Yes.
I love that name now, Turnip. Oh, that's so cute. All right, so let's talk about the movie.
All right.
Oh, and my shirt.
Oh, excuse me, your shirt. Yes, whole food, plant-based.
And if you can see this shirt, it kind of looks like the AC/DC rock and roll band. And so one time, for those of you who weren't there, I was asked to speak. Okay, I wore this shirt, and so they had a guy there who was playing music, and I go, "Oh, do you know that AC/DC song?" And I told him the song. He says yes. So during my presentation, that I was very serious, I said, okay, everybody, stand up. We're going to do a little exercise routine. So I had him cue the music, and I had this shirt on. I said, instead of AC/DC, Highway to Hell, we're going to be singing Highway to Health. Everybody join in. Highway to Health. So I thought, this shirt would be daunting, and on the back, I should have it put Highway to Health. And then our website.
We can do that.
Let's do that.
Yes.
All right, good. Okay, so that's how I'm
Can
segueing.
I get serious now?
Ooh, okay.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted today we're going to review Forks Over Knives. That is a movie that was released in 2001. I'm trying to...
I thought it was 2011.
11.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem.
It's about an hour and 36 minutes. And on the internet database, it's rated 7.8, and good movies are 6, so anything in 7 is excellent, and this is 7.8, so it's excellent movie. I enjoy it. I've seen it about 3 times. One of the things was interesting, since I knew I was going to review it, I paid closer attention to it than if I had just been watching it, and it was very, very meaningful for me. We'll talk about that a minute later. I want to tell you a little bit about the movie. It's one of the first ones that came out, that food as medicine. Now, those of us in the whole food plant-based arena know about that, but this was a big deal back 2011. And they, in the intro to the movie, he talks about over 460,000 women will die, and 40% of Americans are obese, and they go on. So instead of me reading this, I'm going to see if through the magic of the computer I can show you what it is herself.
The average American now carries 23 extra pounds.
Heart disease and stroke will claim the lives of 460,000 American women.
69 grams of fat. You could actually save 12 grams of the fat and half the calories if you simply ate an entire stick of butter.
We're talking about diabetes and hypertension and bone diseases, osteoporosis.
Prostate cancer is now the most common cancer in American men.
Doctors say we really need to eat less red and processed meat.
On arteriosclerosis and cancer and autoimmune disease.
We have unprecedented amount of type 2 diabetes in our children, and we're starting to see hypertension in our children in grammar school.
In case you're wondering, 2,120 calories.
Clearly, the Western diet is taking a toll. This should serve as a wake-up call. We have a growing problem, and the ones who are growing are us.
Food. It's central to our lives and traditions. Every special occasion seems to involve food and feasting. But could some of these same foods, including several that we think are good for our health, also be causing many of our most serious health problems? Indeed, we're facing a massive health crisis. No less than 40% of Americans today are obese, and about half of us are taking some form of prescription drug.
The best-known statin drug, Lipitor, is the most prescribed drug ever in the world.
Almost 1 in 5 American 4-year-olds are now considered to be obese.
Though Mexican-American and African-American children are still more likely to be overweight.
This could be the first generation of children in the United States that lives less than its parents.
We spend $2.2 trillion a year on health care, over 5 times more than the defense budget. In fact, we pay more per person for health care than any industrialized country in the world. Yet we're sicker than ever.
You see, there's no money in healthy people, and there's no money in dead people. The money is in the middle. People who are alive, sort of, but with one or more chronic conditions.
Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure are all diet-related health issues that cost this country more than $120 billion each year.
Every minute, a person in the U.S. is killed by heart disease. 1,500 people a day die from cancer. Combined, these two diseases kill over 1 million Americans every year. Cases of diabetes are skyrocketing, particularly among our younger population.
Diabetes.
Life-threatening diabetes.
1 out of 3 people born in the U.S. today will develop this crippling condition during their lifetime. Millions of others suffer from a host of degenerative diseases. Millions more of us are so stimulated by sugar, coffee, and energy drinks that we've masked our chronic fatigue. But could there be a single solution to all of these problems? A solution so comprehensive, yet so straightforward, that it's mind-boggling that more of us haven't taken it seriously?
Someone has to stand up and say that the answer isn't another pill. The answer is spinach.
A growing number of researchers claim that if we eliminate or greatly reduce refined, processed, and animal-based foods, we can prevent, and in certain cases even reverse, several of our worst diseases. They say all we need to do is adopt a whole foods, plant-based diet. It sounds almost too simple to be true.
All right, so to me, those things were very powerful. Those statistics, I know you don't like statistics, but
I love statistics, but I like the anecdotal stuff too. Sometimes the scientific stuff is like, woo!
Well,
but,
it's hard for our minds to put our minds around it.
But I loved watching, they followed reality patients who actually, and the one that reminded me of you was, her name was Evelyn Oswick. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And she talked about Dr. Esselstyn. And the reason I have so much respect for him is because he's the type of medical doctor that would actually crank up the chainsaw, open up your chest, take that vein from your leg, stick it in your heart. I'm like, woo. So he actually knows. He's been on the front line, so to speak.
He talks about, people say, well, isn't it sort of drastic?
Radical,
to change your lifestyle, not eat meat and dairy? And he says, what's radical is to strip a vein out of your leg, cut your chest open. That's radical. And I know I've had that done to me.
And the recovery and everything could just, but Evelyn, one of the people that you'll either remember or meet, depending upon if you've watched Forks Over Knives or you haven't, and she says, Dr. Esselstyn, he can be awfully strict. You do exactly what he says, or he says, there's the door. Is that with good reason, though, right, Al?
Absolutely.
And you would know about that.
Absolutely. His book saved my life. And both you and I have met him.
Oh, yes. And he remembered you, Al. I met him in Omaha last year, a few months ago, when he and Dr. Campbell came. But so we're standing in line for this delicious plant-based dinner that the plant-based chef had prepared. And so they play this music, and of course, when I hear music, sometimes I have to dance, but I thought, okay, this looks like a refined group. But who's standing in line dancing? Dr. Esselstyn. So I felt like, okay, he's my kind of guy. I can go up to him, and the first thing I did is say, do you remember Al Schmidt from the cruise? He goes, oh, I love Al. So anyway, go ahead.
He loves me. But
well, yes, he did remember you. So tell us about you.
He's very strict, and if you read the book, you will find out you have to be strict. You cannot be whole food plant-based just during the week and then let go on weekends. You can't cheat just a little bit. If you are like me and who was the lady in the
Evelyn. I think it's Oswick, but I'm not sure how to exactly
like Evelyn, because we were cardiac cripples. I don't know if you know the full story, but read the book. But it's excellent. But he took 24 people, excuse me. He took 24 people that were cardiac cripples, like me, couldn't walk.
I mean, most of them were just given, like, go get your affairs in order. Because, yes, there's nothing we can do.
There wasn't long to live.
Right.
And he said, you're going to go on this diet and stay on this diet, and there's, it's life and death. You can't vary it at all. And so it's the door there. Well, 6 of those people dropped out. They said, I can't do this. I cannot have the willpower or whatever it requires. I can't do it. All of those 6 died. They all resumed room temperature. And the other people went on for 20-some years.
That's amazing.
It is. I doubt that I'll get 20, but
yes,
maybe I
you
will.
will.
I started
yes, you
at
will.
80, so maybe I will. Anyway, so I'm sorry.
No. That's perfect, because Al has had not just the pleasure of meeting him, but actually one of the survivors that did exactly what he says. And when this one other woman that they mentioned, she just talked about all the other benefits, not just the health benefits, but the feeling better, walking up the stairs. Al, you probably know something about that. I mean, we do this at his house.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if you would have been making it up your stairs to your front door.
Well, I had stair lifts in the house.
Exactly.
So I took them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm going to do in the future, and I probably have done in the past on this, is I'm going to remind you how strict I am. And I do it for a selfish reason and for an educational reason. The educational reason is I want you to know that it can be done. I want you to know how much it'll benefit you. And the selfish reason is it reinforces my strictness, because it really, in a way, it's very easy, but there are times that you really want to cheat a little bit.
Well, yeah, and I remember when my student said to me, he goes, well, do we ever get to cheat? We were talking about it, and I said, well, why don't you ask your wife about that? How often can I cheat? And just see what she says, okay?
Can I get a weekend pass?
Yeah, exactly. Can I have like 10-year pass? I think Larry David talked about that on one of his shows, The Curb Your Enthusiasm. And so if we make it 10 years, can I have a cheat weekend? Just see how well that goes over. Same thing reminds me of that. Yeah. Just see how well that goes over. And you can tell. You've been on the cruise now, I forget how many years.
I've been on 2 holistic holiday cruises, which are all vegan cruises, and they have a no oil option, which is the only reason that I go.
And you can tell people who've been sticking to the diet.
Oh,
and
yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit? Yeah.
Well, you can tell by looking at people.
Mm-hmm.
We have several people in our acquaintances that went on the whole food plant-based diet. They were grossly overweight. When I say grossly, I'm talking about 100 pounds, 80 pounds overweight. And they get down to about a weight and they plateau out, and they just can't figure it. They're on the diet. They don't eat any meat. They don't eat any dairy, and they just can't figure it out. They didn't cut out the oil.
Right.
And once you cut the oil, and my lovely and charming wife is that way. She has knocked a lot of weight off. She's feeling better, but she can't get rid of the oil. She's just, it's hard to do. It's harder to give up than dairy. It's harder to give up than meat.
I think for every person it's different.
It is.
Yes, for every person.
And she may not need, she does, well, I had really serious health reasons that I had to do it. And not everybody does, but a lot of women that want to look slimmer, like you, they want to get the weight off. And one of them, of our friends, was down and she just plateaued out, and all of us, and she talked to our friend Ruben. Ruben said, cut out the oil, cut out the, and well, I don't eat any oil. Well, you're eating tofu, and I forget.
A lot of nuts.
A lot of nuts
sometimes,
and seeds.
A lot of avocados.
Avocado, those are full of fat, or oil. I use the word fat because I did for 30-some years. I was on a low-fat diet. I was basically trying to be on a low-oil diet, but I called it fat. So I digress.
No, you're not at all. And there is a difference between fat and oil.
Yes.
But now even Dr. Esselstyn, he has mentioned the positive use of oil. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was in your car. I just made that up. I know. I don't know why. I just had to get him. He'd be like, "What? My idol?" Yeah. Okay,
I don't believe he said positive use of oil.
In your car. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. I know most of you got it. Yes. That's what I said. You use it.
Old.
You use it in your car. Yeah. Exactly.
I thought you were talking about you.
I know.
And I were talking about it in my car.
No, we weren't. In your car. Dr. Esselstyn says use oil a lot in your car.
To lubricate the engine of your car.
I know.
Thank you.
Okay, right. I know. I was trying to get away with something that we hadn't tried. And just when you mentioned let food be thy medicine, I love that. Are you Vedic Philosophy that says when I'm looking at the computer, it's not because I'm reading emails and stuff. It's because I want to make sure I get the quotes right. That's what I want to make sure. When diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need.
Yes.
Is that true? Have you found that? Yeah. And that brings up that other person in the movie where she said she got off all of her medication. And even when she worked in a diabetic clinic.
Yeah.
And she said she was still able, and she was amazed that when she told the doctor how she did that, he basically did not believe her and said, well, you're not going to give up your drugs, are you?
You can't give up your medicine.
Yeah, and she said, well, that's my goal.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. And the other thing that just, I was just amazed at, that, I mean, I know I'd read it a million times, but
she took 3 pages of notes.
3 pages of notes, I know.
She's doing this.
And so when he was talking, especially in this age that we're in now, or this climate, or this culture that we are in now, and I heard a radio personality talking about it yesterday on my way home. And he said, we've got to remember that cancer and heart disease, just those two, kill over 1 million Americans every year.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about sometimes pandemic and epidemics and things like that, you know, you've probably seen this in the grocery store. They might have on their mask and gloves, but they're loading up with with eggs and milk and dairy and cheese. And I'm like, okay, you guys, I know what you're trying to do, and I think that's smart, but there's another disease that you will probably
Isn't that one of the more frustrating things
Yes.
for people like us and people like you that are watching this? Is you go to the grocery store and you look at what people are buying, and you think, oh, if I could only share with
Wouldn't
you.
it be frustrating to be a grocery clerk and have to go, okay, you know, look at all their things and bag all their, I don't think we could do that. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right, I'm sorry, I thought I interrupted you. I was just
No.
going to say, yeah. And I think it's interesting.
That's my job to interrupt.
Okay, I've actually seen this happen. I was in Bel Air or Raleigh someplace, and someone was commenting, it was a total stranger commenting to another total stranger, you should really wear your gloves. And I felt like looking in her basket and said, you should really take out all that junk.
Yes.
But I didn't, because you know me, I always keep my mouth shut. I never...
Yeah, right.
And I also wanted to mention one thing about, in the movie, Forks Over Knives, he shows the article that Jane Brody wrote immediately after Forks Over Knives was released and China Study was released. And so there was a part of the movie where the New York Times journalist Jane Brody, who's now 79, wrote an article. And so I Googled Jane Brody to find out, well, what's she really like now? Is she balloon up to, 300 pounds? But she says she became devoted to exercise, and she started playing tennis 5 days a week, less in the winter, she said. She would head out daily, rising at 5 a.m., prepare breakfast for the family, do a 3.5-mile run. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, that's incredible. But she said then she started really focusing on eating. And what she emphasized were potatoes, rice, pasta, dried peas and beans, bread without butter, bulgur and kasha. And then she also supplemented that with a lot of fruit and a lot of vegetables. Now her husband, who was a confirmed meat guy, he switched his focus from meat and ended up the year 26 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
So, and who knows about his heart disease and stuff. And it was Sandara's story, and she was saying, we all struggle. Al, you want to mention that?
No, we do. We all struggle. It's it becomes a lot easier after. Now it's a habit for me, and I have this philosophy: I will always choose health over taste. So you give me two things to eat, which I'll determine which is healthier, and I will eat that with no qualms. Now, can I segue into why was it meaningful for you to watch this again? I mean,
I'm gonna try to watch it at least once a month, and I'm gonna do that with all of these documentaries. Forks Over Knives was like the tipping point, for people. But since then, we've had Game Changers, What the Health, Let Food Be Thy Medicine, and Processed People, which we're gonna look at in the in the upcoming podcast. I want to take a look at two of those because some of them go unnoticed sometimes, so you can really, and we need that now more than ever. We need those. Even Al and I, who've been doing this for a few years,
4 years,
we can use those reminders and those.
That's why this was meaningful to me.
Yes.
because I saw my heroes, Esselstyn and Dr. and Campbell and McDougall, and they reinforced. When I first watched it the first time, it was very meaningful because I was just doing this on my own, and I thought, oh wow, I'm not out there by my own. And now I see it, and it reinforces and it strengthens. Not that I need it, because my body is telling me I'm doing the right thing, but it's just wonderful.
Al, one of the did you have something else?
Well, I was going to say, Dottie had not watched this. I was surprised, so I said, why don't you watch it, honey? So she did. And I said, did you like it? She said, yeah, it was really good. I said, was it the best one you've seen? Because I think it is. And she said, no. She had watched
Game Changers?
Game Changer.
Yes.
And she thought that was the most moving to her. So I have this theory, untested of course, but that the first one you watch is the most influential one. It's like your first kiss, or your first.
I was comparing it to ducks. They say that baby ducks, the first thing they see, that's their mother.
Yeah.
She's
imprints them.
Yeah, exactly. You've got that imprint, and the duck follows you around. I think there was a movie like that.
I think it's hard to get a really good analogy.
Okay, I know. All right. But I thought that was really good, and it is. I've taught yoga for over 20 years. And the students I had at first, then they would take other yoga teachers, they go, oh, but we like you better. That's just because I was the first one. If they had taken the other one teacher, they would have liked her better.
I remember my first yoga teacher too, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's the first. Okay.
Yeah, the first. Okay,
all
good.
Right.
I also wanted to, if you could mention, which this is one of the studies at Forks Over Knives that I just loved, and I'll never forget this one, and maybe you could expound on it a little bit more. It was the Norway one after World War II. Do you want to mention that?
Yes.
I love that one.
That was interesting. Norway is a producer of dairy products, and they eat a lot of milk and cheese and dairies in Norway. And so they were doing, they charted the incidence of heart disease and strokes, and it was just going up like this, and it kept going up until the top, until 1942, I believe, was the year, and that's when the Germans invaded Norway and took all the dairy products and fed them to the German army, and it just precipitously dropped after that because they couldn't eat meat or dairy products. And then it went on for a couple of years until 1944-45 when the war was over, and it shot right back up again.
With their diet, they went back to eating meat and cheese.
For a person that doesn't like metrics, that's interesting that it you really like that. Yes.
Well, I just thought it was, again, extremely anecdotal, though. You could see that it was just like, wow, that chart stuck out of my mind.
All right, can we start to wrap it up?
Okay, I just want to say one other thing. We're going to do an Earth Day podcast too, because Forks Over Knives did touch about the different global things that.
Yeah, I have some. I have some things that changed my life. I don't know how to share them with you, but I'll try.
I also want to just maybe end with this quote: that we would have plenty of grain to eradicate world hunger if we stopped feeding that grain to animals.
Yes.
I thought that was really good. So look.
I want to give my tip.
Please do. Yes, give your tip. Yes, thank you to Scott. Yes, give your tip.
All right, so here is my tip for the day. I have been doing this before even I went on the plant-based diet, and it's very healthy and it's very tasty. And you buy Bird's Eye North, the ultimate Southwest blend. It's peas and corns and beans and carrots and nothing else. And I just defrost this, put it in a bowl in the refrigerator, and then every night when I make salad, all I do is put out a little lettuce in the bottom, a little bit of tomatoes in there, maybe onion, something, whatever I like, and then just pour a spoonful of this on it. Balsamic vinegar, different flavored, and it's a delicious and very filling.
And very easy.
And
very convenient.
If I can do it.
Very convenient.
Easy.
So we're going to have those tips. We're also going to suggest some videos because we were talking about Dr. Esselstyn, and his daughter and his wife put out these great series of cooking videos. So we're going to put a link to those. We have a link
in the
to the Forks Over Knives just banana muffins that I've made that are extremely good. There's no oil, no dairy, nothing like that. We'll have that link. And we'll also have, what that other one that I wanted to, oh, Chef AJ has a YouTube with Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
That one's really cute. That one's
would
really
be
fun
good,
because
yes.
Dr. Campbell does not like to cook at all, so it was kind of funny.
My kind of guy.
I'm going to have him in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we look forward to seeing you next time.
Keep those cards and letters coming.
Keep those emails and, what do they say? Those Instagram notes coming.
You don't even know how to do that.
I don't even know how to say it. We don't even have Instagram. Mrs. Producer, work on Instagram and take us out with Staying Alive. Forks over knives. Forks over knives.